Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Faye Watt, and let's queer up trans rights. Hegseth issues ultimatum to trans troops to resign by Pride Month or else.
At the Defense Department, we continue to relentlessly pursue the president's agenda, especially on readiness. He put out an executive order a week into his presidency, stating the prioritizing military excellence and readiness, that expressing a false gender identity divergent from an individual's sex cannot satisfy the rigorous standards necessary for military service. We agree, and so we implemented that policy. It was challenged in court, and of course, we appealed. And 2 days ago at the Supreme Court, our policy was upheld. And so we're going to continue to advance that policy here at the Defense Department. So, in accordance with policy now reinstated, service members who have a current diagnosis or history of or exhibit symptoms consistent with gender dysphoria may elect to separate voluntarily. There's a timeline here, and then eventually involuntarily if necessary. This is the president's agenda. This is what the American people voted for, and we're going to continue to relentlessly pursue it.
After the Supreme Court allowed the Trump administration's ban on transgender individuals serving in the military, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth issued an ultimatum to trans service members. They have until June 6th to voluntarily resign from their positions in the military, or they will be discharged. This follows a statement he made during a speech to Special Forces operatives on May 6th in Tampa, Florida, where he said, quote, "Everything starts and ends with warriors. From training to the battlefield, we are leaving wokeness and weakness behind. No more pronouns, no more climate change obsession, no more emergency vaccine mandates, no more dudes in dresses. We're done with that shit," end quote. The Pentagon will begin the process of removing the over 1,000 transgender service members out of the military. You know, I've spoken to a few friends in the military who are trans, and one in particular that has decided to stay anonymous because of the current circumstances has said, quote, "Come fucking find me," end quote. Okay. Military folks are a special breed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. They are trained to live and die for this country, a country that doesn't even respect them and respect their rights, which is crazy, because you will speak to a military member that is being shunned in this way and they're still trying to protect the government, right? Because that's just the brainwashing, the love, the compassion, all of that all into one, you know? Everything that this man stated are things that we believe in, right? Like science, mandates, vaccines, DEI, equal rights for everyone. I mean, it's sad. It's really sad. You know, we had done a story here a couple of months ago also when this whole thing started. And the reality was that they don't even know how many trans folks are basically right now serving.
Right.
They don't have that number down. All right. So, I mean, so all these threats and all this like stuff is just to put fear into the hearts and minds of our poor community people that are out there serving in the military right now.
And that shows exactly like what other countries must think of us, is that we're so fearful of our own military people and disgracing. I mean, they're patriots, you know, and this is how we're
They're true
treating
patriots,
them.
not those people that freaking did what they did at the Capitol. Those are people who are not patriots.
No, I don't consider them patriots either. So it infuriates me when I see things like this being passed. It's disgusting.
You know, I'm thinking back on my knowledge about the military, and I just remember in the last couple of years that there's been a drop in voluntary
sign-ups.
Mm-hmm. I remember that they've lowered the standards, meaning that there was a certain level that you had to pass an aptitude test or an educational test, and I remember they lowered those standards. They're willing to take people that are less than in past history, but people like transgendered people who are busting their ass and being more than they've ever been before for our behalf, and they're saying,
Yeah. People that aren't mentally stable to have that position, they're allowing to have before our trans siblings.
They proved themselves by getting in the military. I mean, they met the rigorous standards that it would take, right? And yet they're lowering their standards now, so
basically they're just going to take anyone that they want.
Yeah.
And at the same point, it's my understanding that Pete the gentleman who was speaking, I can't even pronounce his last name, I'm so irritated right now, that, you know, his military record is far from stellar, and there's questions on the reality of half the stuff that he talks about himself and half the claims he's made, and yet he has the audacity and the backbone and the balls to sit there and say, you're not worthy, when he still hasn't even been sober for 6 months.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And his ass is on the line right now from so many people in the Senate because he's fucking up so desperately that even Trump has been pissed at him. And he has the audacity to say, we don't want people like this. Enough with this shit. Pete, get the fuck out.
I mean, if you think about it, it's our transgender siblings. It'll be LGBTQ next. It'll be women next. You know.
And even if they volunteer and get the honorable discharge, are they going to go after their medical and then their benefits in years to come?
Yep.
Right.
Of course.
No.
Of course.
No.
Well, that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.